You're very welcome. Just today, I was checking my phone and I was scrolling through and I discovered I have over 2,500 contacts. But on the days when I have a challenge, I can barely call even half of these people and trust that they'll be there. So I find myself in situations where I am alone. And I know that based on the conversations we've been having and the previous live streams, you've experienced some of these things. And so many people that are watching have also experienced the loneliness epidemic. Have you ever been in that position where you're surrounded by people but are in fact lonely? And when did you realize that you are lonely?
Mm. It's good to be here again, everyone. I remember the first time I realized loneliness doesn't always mean being alone. You can have a mammoth crowd around you and you are still lonely, even within the family. So it's not just at the workspace or at the market, it could be within the family. Your family is there, but you feel like you're just alone. So, I was in a room full of laughter, smiles, conversations, everybody going up, whoa, 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 so much noise, clinking glasses, but somehow I felt invisible. I only laugh, cue, somebody talking to you, and you just feel I'm supposed to laugh. So let me laugh. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
supposed to nod. Let me nod. Let me just nod at the stories. But you are miles apart. Your body is there, but your spirit is several thousands of miles away. But something inside me kept whispering, "You are really not here." So that moment taught me that connection isn't about proximity, you know, it's about presence in the real sense of the word. So sometimes the loudest silence is the one inside of us as well. You just can't relate with what is happening around you. So you want to be by yourself. And I would also want to add that you are not broken for feeling that way. No, we are all humans. Things like this happen sometimes. But the best is to keep talking about it. Don't isolate, speak up. I tell people that speaking up is the new currency. As we go along, we learn more. And as we interact, we learn more instead of remaining in silence.
Wow, that's really great thoughts. And you see, it's easy when we have little children. You've seen how they play, they make friends, and everyone is their friend. And then we reach this point as adults, and responsibility comes in.
Yes.
We now have careers, we become professionals, and we are still connected. I mean, we are connected on LinkedIn, we are connected on live, but we are more disconnected emotionally. Why do you think as modern adults experience that kind of disconnect emotionally?
Modern profile, yet more emotionally disconnected. Because sometimes what we chase is not real connection, is performance. Because we want to be seen. Although Toyin is up early, Toyin is post at 1 a.m. At least Lisa is there for us at 2:30. You know, and all or Lisa or just to be seen, it's just performing. But because the value you are giving, you are not really experiencing it. You are just there performing. Social media, career pressures, and constant notifications, they keep us visible, responsive, sometimes productive, but rarely present. Rarely present. So we scroll through highlights of other people's lives. And in these days of AI, things are so different. I can look like this as you are seeing me, and the next moment, I'm a total, I do a total remake of myself, and I will still claim to be who I am. So we're all just performing. We're all entertainers. That's how, because to catch your cruise, to really feel alive in this social media age, is for you to just be present. We shouldn't lose that touch. We should not lose that touch. Don't confuse busyness, because sometimes I tell myself, yes, I am an early riser. I get up so early, and after praying, I just wonder what next. And after having my 15 minutes silence with myself, what next? The next is to just take my phone and start scrolling through it. But what I try not to do is to compare. I try to take I take a step back from comparing myself to what I am seeing or what I am reading. I immediately ensure that I don't allow my thought pattern to be distorted. Yes, I'm reading. Yes, I'm seeing what you are posting, but I just flip through and say, okay, now what next? So don't let us confuse busyness and visibility with closeness. People responding, liking your post, commenting, even coming into your DM does not mean they are close to you. Some people just want to dig deeper. Some people need your help, but some, all they want is just to dig deeper and take your story where you really don't want it to go. So sometimes that's where why people think, why that loneliness become an epidemic, because we really don't know who is real anymore. That real emotional presence is lost. If we are not careful,
Yeah.
we're just there. You're just existing, you're not living. So listening, being seen, cannot be measured in likes or comments. It is very essential that we pause, reflect, and reclaim the real connections. Because to go.
That's such an important truth. And yet the majority of the lonely crowd usually does other things to cope. What unspoken habits or coping mechanisms have you come across that most of us develop and we misinterpret it, by the way, as independence? I'm sure you've come across these. Could you share some of those coping mechanisms?
Yeah, lonely people often develop habits that look like independence, but they are mainly shields. Like a protective shield, an assumed protective shield, because most times not really independence, not a shield. You are not frozen in time. Life is on 24/7. So they overcommit to work. They are always there. They are the first people to get to work. They are the last to leave. They are the ones say everybody comes to, they are always ready. What do you think you haven't done? You have some tasks you are yet to complete. Let me help you. Help with, I'm fine, when you ask questions as well. Yet they are exhausted. So they avoid asking for help they over rely on routines to feel quiet moments, because they really don't want to think about what is truly happening in their lives. They're only looking for other things to fill it up. That before I come home to do as I can do. They laugh easily. They seem self-sufficient. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Why
I
lost?
can hear you.
Hello, hello. Sorry, I think the network is acting up.
Yeah, you were talking about how lonely people think self-sufficiency is, the way to go. I think there's a network problem. You were talking about
Aha.
how self-sufficiency is the way to go, and that's how they think.
Mm, exactly. They laugh easily. They seem self-sufficient. And then they make decisions solo. But inside, they may crave connection,
Mhm.
understanding, or simply being seen. So what looks like strength is often a coping mechanism, a way to manage that ache of being unseen, of being alone. So that's why most times I tell people, listen beyond words. Don't just assume that the person you're talking with or the person you are talking to is okay. Calm your spirit, calm yourself down to listen if you are genuine is. Because true independence doesn't mean doing it all alone.
And all of these things you've described are signs that we see so much in highly achieving women and high achieving men. It's so common. And usually, when you're doing this, I mean, your work is flourishing, your boss is happy. And yet, on the inside, you're struggling. How does loneliness show up in your experience in high achieving men and women differently? And why is it that they hide it?
Can you take that again, please? The network.
Yes, as saying, how does loneliness show up in your experience? You've met a lot of high achieving men, high achieving women, and all of these characters you're describing is what they behave. They are always working, they show up early, they're finishing all these tasks, and they're trying to hide something. So I was asking, how does loneliness show up in high achieving men and women differently, and why do they hide it?
In high achieving women, loneliness often shows up as being perfection or taking, masking the desire to be seen and valued. It can appear as withdrawal,
Mm.
relentless work. They don't want to leave their workspace. And then reluctance to share their struggles, hiding vulnerability behind competence. So both men and women hide because admitting loneliness feels like weakness. But one fact remains, that vulnerability is not vulnerability, is a strength. Because it takes courage. Somebody mentioned on my, somebody commented on my post earlier today saying, vulnerability is sometimes difficult to express because you don't know who you are talking to. You don't know who you are sharing. And what I responded to the person is, you have to ensure your mindset is right. If your mindset is right, you meet the right people to talk with. Because the drive for achievement can deepen the very isolation that we fear. Success doesn't have to mean loneliness. If you are even successful and you are lonely, to what end is that? To what end? So always strive to speak, because that is new currency. Give yourself peace, peace with you, not just showing off that everything is all right when you know things are not okay. Connect with human beings. I'm not saying online connection alone. Connect with people off the screen, because there is life beyond your screen. And
Wow.
loneliness is an epidemic.
Mhm.
Don't be caught in it. Don't be caught in it.
And it's also, everybody's experiencing this. A lot of people are experiencing this. You might be here thinking, I'm alone. And yet, the person you're talking to is also thinking they're alone. And at the end of the day, you're both going to pretend and not talk to each other. And yet, you need that kind of support. So, what kind of support, in your experience and with dealing with the people that you've dealt with, what kind of support or connection do adults secretly crave but rarely ask for because maybe they fear to appear weak?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Adults often crave simple, quiet forms of support. Someone to truly listen. Just like I've been saying, we have to develop that habit of listening beyond words. Because adults really someone who will truly listen. Like I'm talking, you're scrolling on your phone, or you're watching a movie, or you're generally doing other things, and to you, you're already distracted. So I would think, yeah, I mean, you're not interested in what I want to say, you know. So adults crave that time with people, listen, someone who will truly listen, check in without an agenda, which is very important also. When people talk to you, don't have your own private agenda as to what you want to do with what they tell you. Coming to you is seeing, being, I mean, trusting you. That is like, is trust. If I want to speak to you, if you want to speak to me, that means you trust me enough to want to talk to me. So you don't have agenda to do with whatever with me. So adults long for reassurance, understanding, and emotional presence. They fear to ask because it might make them seem weak. Just as we have been saying, it might make them seem weak or need always, or by saying I'm fine, but they're alone. And the truth is, connection doesn't diminish stress. Nourishes it. it nourishes it. It doesn't diminish your strength at all. Vulnerability is strength in disguise. Courage to open up, that is where the strength. We may talk, courage. You will not be able to speak up. So vulnerability is strength in disguise. Learn up,
Wow.
learn to share coffee with people around, someone around you, or with Dr. Lisa, or with me in our space. No judgment. Our space is safe. I hope you can see, hear me.
Yeah, it was a bit shaky, but I think we got what you were saying, that
Network is dealing with
vulnerability is
us.
not weakness,
Okay. Can you hear
vulnerability
me?
is strength. Yes. Yes, you are saying vulnerability is strength, it's not weakness. So being able
All
to
right.
open up and share
Go
with
on.
someone is so important, especially as adults in this lonely epidemic. So there's somebody out there listening to this and they're struggling, they feel isolated, they feel everything we feel. I mean, it's a very common thing. What's the first small step that they and us can take today to reconnect with others and also to reconnect with ourselves?
I will say reach out. Reach out. Send a message. Make a call, or even share coffee with you feel seen. Start small. You don't need to divulge everything at the same time, but make that call. Send that message. I would like to talk to you. That short message. At the same time, reconnect with yourself. Because before you can do anything, your body, your mind, your everything must be in sync with what you plan to do. So reconnect with yourself. Pause, breathe, journal, or take a walk. Because sometimes when you take a walk, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it helps you to reconnect with yourself. Because while you take the walk, you're maybe walking alone or even walking with someone. You can, it helps. I mean, you can discuss with the person, or you guys can walk in silence. It helps you to reconnect with yourself. It frees you, makes you calm. These small acts reminds us that connections isn't always grand gestures. All you need is just those small, just reach out. You never can tell. A simple word from the person, a simple response from the person may just be the solution that your heart has been craving. And always remember that connection begins with courage. Connection begins with courage. Always remember that. Be calm. Help is available.
Wow. This was a very great session, and we've come to the end. But I think the two things I'm taking away from this are, number one, to remember that everybody is struggling with the loneliness epidemic, because as adults, we have lost that ability, that childlike ability to connect. But to be kind to each other, to listen without judgment, listen with compassion, and also to be okay opening up. I remember a time when I was really struggling in my personal life, and I felt what most people feel. I mean, if I share it with someone, I mean, the person said in your comments, if I'm vulnerable, some people will use it against me, or this information will be, you know, taken somewhere that will not be in my favor, or it will sabotage the relationship. And we fear to open up because of this very reason. But like you said, take it slow, small steps. It doesn't have to be you opening up about your whole life in one sit down, but just sharing small things here and there to help you to regain that connected feeling. And most importantly, it starts with your own mind first. If your mindset is right, then it's going to be easier for you to form those connections. You must be grounded and connected with yourself before you're able to connect with others. Thank you so much, Mr. In, for this. And I'm hoping that our viewers will be able to reach out in case it's overwhelming. Please reach out, have a conversation. It will help you to be yourself, and also to keep showing up, and to keep showing up in a powerful way. Thank you so much for joining us, and see you in the next live stream.